bring our voices in.
Doom 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 boom 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 doom 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 boom. Oh no, I'm late.
We're in.
Did that work? Tell me that worked, you lot, man. Shout out to Black Einstein. I know I butchered that intro, boy, but yeah, we had a slight technical hitch right there. What's going on, mother lovers? Welcome back to another Shit You Might Not Never Know Nothing About podcast. That's right, with myself, your host, MysDiggi, alongside my co-host, Dan DNA. What's going on, bruv?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
We want to welcome all our listeners, all the viewers, all our live viewers, all of our, if you're watching on the replay or listening on a podcast as well, we want to welcome you too, because,
Yeah,
don't worry.
You feel lonely.
Yeah, we don't go at latecomers in any way, because sometimes we can be late as well.
Yeah.
But welcome to the party, bitches and bitchettes. We don't discriminate, of course. Hey, it's been a bit of a mad week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of the things have been opening up. Assholes, as well as yeah, man, it's getting a bit crazy, man. People don't know what to do with themselves, because all of a sudden it seems like things are starting to open up. I hear Islanders even they're like, oh, fuck it, we might as well get back out there. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I don't know if it's true or not, but you know what I mean? So yeah, it's good. The spirit of humanity seems to be, getting uplifted here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's still been a bit crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. What you been up to? Anything?
I've been working on a project that I'm doing with a certain producer out there named pt.34, and so I've just been getting my head down with that, as well as another project that people might not never know nothing about until we talk about it. You know what I mean? We keep that quiet. But yeah, I've been working a lot, man, doing a lot of writing, recording and whatnot. So yeah, and obviously getting prepared for this tour with Smokey Joe and the Kid as well. Got to get myself in, you know what I mean, tour shape. Man's just, you know what I mean, getting the joints loose and all that.
You still heavy breathing when you walk at the moment. Yeah.
Gotta be done.
Get yourself.
Done, man. It's weird. We don't realize how much we shallow breathe, man.
Yeah.
And that's it's funny because it leads to a lot of things that you find are problems. You can kind of trace it back to, wow, that's what shallow breathing does to you, because you're not getting enough oxygen, and then from there you're already messing up. It's like not getting enough water, but you don't realize it because you're in a state that you're maintaining, But a lot of like fatigue, people who don't sleep well, appetite, like there were all these like little things that you won't realize, even down to rashes and things like that. It's like, yo, you're just not getting enough oxygen, bruv.
Some people only take one heavy breath every couple of hours when they're on Facebook.
Yeah,
that's it. Like
Facebook
the social media,
stressed out.
One
bro.
heavy breath every 2 hours.
Yeah, I think I saw there was a poster saying Facebook is now known to be like quite a heavy cause in heart problems. Like if you have a heart attack, it could be from stressing out over Facebook arguments that last like 16 days and shit.
Wow, yeah, I've seen
that.
Yeah,
Man. Some of them arguments, like I'm like, bruv, you lot are really enjoying this. Like you're going to sleep and waking up thinking about what else to say. Like, hold on, man said, yeah, wait, I can't. When I get, you know what? I've got to do it now. Well, they probably even write out like the replies, save it in your
Don't
notes
you then?
and that.
You don't do that.
Yeah, I was thinking about these looking a bit angry, but I was going to write a reply to you. I don't think you should talk about trolls or you might offend the trolls. Yo, that's what it's going to be soon, boy. It'll be like troll history month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? TLM, boy. Trolls will be like, nah, man. You know what I mean? I'll be getting cyberbullied. I'm a reformed troll, and I'll be getting cyberbullied. It's like, TLM. See them storming Westminster. Trolls and shit, boy. Yeah, that's the life, innit?
Yeah, troll life.
Nah, but it does worry me sometimes when I see how carried away people can get with their arguments online. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, there are a whole lot of other things we could be worrying about rather than that shit. You know what I mean? But yo, let's big up the crew that are locked in with us, man. The live crew, you know what I mean? I always miss out some of these when my comments open up. Shout to IBMCs, what's going on? Shout to PLK. Shout to Yamal, Easy Kenny Rebel. Shout to Gleam, what's going on, bruv? Shout to Ken F. Jeez. Yeah, we got some people in the building. Shout to my brother DJ Lock. What's going on? Yeah, it's interesting hearing the old tunes, man. Who was it who was playing me?
Turbo Tubalicious.
Shout to Turbo Tubalicious.
The nice one, JM.
Yeah, nice one, JM. What's going on, bruv?
PLK.
Yo, it's good to see you lot in the building, man. We're going to have a good one tonight, man.
Black Einstein, of course.
Shout to Black Einstein. Yep. All the crew in the building, man. If you just locked in, do you know what I mean? Hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed already, please do that. Share the link as well. You know, we got to tell people to do that, man. Like
every 20 minutes.
Yeah, is it every 20 minutes? The algorithm.
15 minutes. You got to tell. You just got to keep relentlessly shoving it down people's throats. Please like, share, subscribe, and tell your family. Sign your family up to Facebook.
Cast some spells on your family, make them sign up. You know what I mean? Yo, yeah, man.
Chris Lahat.
Shout out to Chris Lahat in the building. What's going on? And we got to big up CMOS, boss. Don't forget, if you want to get your CMOS, over 98 different nutrients. Well, I'm telling you, man, the game has changed.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
All those nutrients.
Yeah, now I understand how to. Nah, but the thing is, I didn't really. It's like you buy CMOS just from around the corner. Do you know what I mean? It'll be that dry.
Londis CMOS.
Yeah. And it's just dry. Just
Happy
in a
shopper
bag.
CMOS.
Like £3.50.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. And then cook it up and be like, But now I understand the game. Yo, it's changed. Like, yeah, the CMOS. Have you started yours yet? Yeah, you ain't. Cause
I had time. Do you know what? I've been filming all last week, and then I caught half COVID, which was just where you just get a sore throat.
Half COVID.
Yeah, you know, you just get like a sore throat.
Okay. So you was like half scared.
Just 50% COVID, new type of COVID.
It's in the back of your mind and in the back of your throat.
Yeah, it's just I've got a bit of a sore throat. I think it's only half of the symptoms of COVID.
How did you deal with it?
Went to bed early.
You actually got some sleep.
Yeah. I don't mind saying, gargled a bit of urine.
Did you gargle with the urine?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I was away. I didn't have anything else. I didn't have any salt with me or anything. I just had to use what I had around me. You know, like any good soldier. Yeah. Wow.
So what did you use? Like, was it the glass from? I
just had a little glass jar, little glass bottle, or whatever that I just had in the car with me. Just snuck off, filled it up.
Gargled
with it in the car.
Well, there you go. And you got rid of it.
Essex. I was on the other side of London.
Oh, okay, that's all right. Then. If you was in like Peckham or something, it'd be like, right, bro. In Essex, it's like, go on, mate. Yeah. That's deep, boy. They'll do oil pulling, like you could do oil pulling in Essex. You know what I mean? Grounding, bare people walking around. You're all right, mate. Walking barefoot on the fields, though. You know, like everyone's walking through this grass and fields, no roads. Like, you all right, mate? You all right? Yeah, boy. I mean, it worked. Like, it got rid of like you gargled, and then the next day,
I was working. I was doing like 12-hour days. I was doing 12-hour days, so it was long, 4 long days of filming darts, and then you know, I had a really bad toothache as well the whole time, so I was trying to get rid of that. So obviously that was part of the gargling thing.
So it was every night you did. Like
all day, every couple of hours. Yeah, do a bit of that, a bit of salt water. Whatever I could get, I was just doing whatever I could to bring that pain down. Toothache, sore throat is all just run down, and it's all just run down. That's all. Late nights, early mornings,
to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And then, so you reckon, how long did it? Like, it took 2 or 3 days then for it to.
The toothache probably went down about. So it started probably on Thursday when I was just getting to the job sort of thing, and then by about Saturday afternoon, it was starting to calm down.
Wow.
And then. The sore throat went really like this morning.
Oh, see.
Yeah.
You did well.
All right. Yeah.
Did well. Yeah, I mean,
no painkillers, none of that sort of stuff, no drugs.
Just piss.
Yeah.
That's all you need, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, Gleam knows. I'm trying to see if allegedly Dave will be up for getting on, man, and talking about, you know what I mean, what do you call it? The fountain of youth, would you say? Oh, no, old people still got pee going in it.
Yeah.
It might be a bit drier. Powdered pee,
dust,
boy.
a bit more dust in it.
Powdered like pea dust, boy. Straight up. All right, hold on. It's coming.
Gleam saying did you see allegedly Dave said he would come on the show? Yeah, so
Did he?
Yeah.
Nah, I never saw that, man. Where was that?
Yeah, I don't know where we're meant to have seen that.
Nah, he might be saying, did you say?
No, did you see allegedly?
Nah.
Unless he says, did you see allegedly? Dave said he was going to come on the show.
Yeah, knowing Gleam, that's probably what it is, man. Yamor is still not, she's not down with the whole urine therapy thing.
Nothing I can do about that.
Yeah. There are beauty products out there that, you can do it topically. Oh, wow. Gleam said he asked him and he said, yes. Okay, shit. We should hit him up, man.
Yes.
Nice one for that, bro.
Let's do that.
Yeah, definitely, man. That'll be really interesting because I think, like this is what this show is about, man. People finding out some stuff that they might not really have thought about. And whether or not you be into it, at least you understand why people do it. And you might not judge them the same way that you did before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like obviously, before I knew Dan was gargling pee, you know what I mean?
You wonder why my breath smells so bad.
Yeah. It's like, you know what I mean? Soggy rich tea biscuits. I was like, yo, man smells like an old man sometimes. Smells like a wino. You know what I mean? Every now and again, got that wino whiff. You know, a wino comes up to you talking, you just got to hold your breath. You're like smiling. Yeah, nah. You don't want to be rude and shit, but you're like, yo, man, I nearly died off of that. Nah, I'm joking, but yeah.
Big up all the winos out there.
Hey, exactly. See it there? Gleam says, no harm learning stuff. And that's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
Man. I think it's important. When they told us we have to stay away from each other and not talk, that's when I realized we got to do the exact opposite, bitches and bitchettes. Shout out to Bigger Man. What's going on, brother? Yes. Yo, should we bring in our guest?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's about that time. All right, before we do that, hold on. We got to shout out to CMOS Boss. We was halfway through the title there.
Yeah.
The cmosboss.co.uk, mother lovers. If you want to get, let's say, wild crafted, organic sea vegetables, from sea spaghetti to dulse, you can get spirulina, you can get sea moss, like we've been talking about. You can get the gels as well. Order that at the cmosboss.co.uk. The benefits of these seafoods, man, like, honestly, is next level. And like I said, we wouldn't be pushing it if we didn't think so. Dan's gazing because the thing is, it does take a minute for you to make the gel the way you want to. But like we said, you can listen back to the episode and they explain, 2 different ways that you can make it. And it's fun as well, man. Like knowing that you're making something that's so...
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I know you will. I know you will.
Yeah.
So, of course, dulse, a great source of vitamin B12 and omega-3 fatty acids. Sea spaghetti, naturally high in iodine, vitamin E, calcium, and magnesium, as well as bladderwrack, which is high in iodine. Very good for the ladies. Women like to talk about the thyroid problems. Not they like to talk about it, but they often do like to talk about it. And, yeah, this is a good way that can help ladies with that problem, as well as men. We have thyroid problems as well, man. We just call it something else. Sore throat. Hotel D is going through thyroid problems. Yeah, spirulina as well as wakame, and there's a sea spice as well, man, which is really good. It's got a whole bunch of different nutrients in there. You know what I mean? Some that you might not never know nothing about, but trust me, if you want to get your sea moss, go to the cmosboss.co.uk and you can get 10% off your order with the code ABOUT10. That's the word about and the number 10.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is actually 2 numbers, isn't it? Yeah, man. The cmosboss.co.uk, the best place for 100% organic, real Irish sea moss and all your nutrient-dense vegetables. Hit them up, mother lovers. Get your thyroids right. Yeah. And shout out to Irish. You know what I mean? We got to big him up, man. definitely had a good chat with him as well about the benefits of such vegetables.
Yeah, go and check that episode out if you need to know more about why you should be doing it and how you should be doing it.
Yeah, see, that's an inexperienced way of talking about it. You can tell D he haven't started cooking it yet. Once you get deep in the game, like I'm deep in the game. You know what I mean? I'm like, what? I'm about 6 batches deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Man's probably cooked up.
Mobile home,
I'll be in the kitchen,
driving around, just your pants on, cooking sea moss.
Yeah, the BD Seagull of sea moss. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the kitchen whipping that, making them gels. You know what I'm saying? So who's that? Shout out to Kenny Rebel who said, could you get Paul Stamets?
Mushroom Man.
Oh, that'd be sick, man. Yo, definitely. To talk about shrooms. Jeez. Like, do it on shrooms as well, microdose, and then do. Yo, let's bring in our guest, man, this week. Looking forward to chat to this guy, man. I've known him for years. We've done a few gigs as well, here and there. And yeah, we spoke about the first time that I ever saw his band, which was in Shepherd's Bush Empire. So, you know what I mean, in the Manor. And it was jokes, man. And he hit me up, and I was so glad when he said he was up for getting on the show, you know what I mean, to chop it up. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to James, head honcho of the Lazy Habits. What's going on, bruv? Welcome.
Thank you for having me on.
Live via satellite.
Welcome.
We should be saying good morning to him, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
good morning, because he's on the other side of the world, if you believe in the side thing. we don't want to discriminate, The world's changed. What's going on, bruv?
I'm all good, man. How are you guys?
Good.
We're good, man. We're good, surviving out here through the rugged terrain. It feels good to be alive, man. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Definitely, man. Yes, good to chat to you, bruv, man. It's been a crazy couple years, obviously, with what's been going on, and it seems there's a reason why you're in where are you right now? Please break that down first of all.
I'm about 6,000 miles away, in Taiwan, in East Asia, where I came on holiday.
Oh, the camera
slipped.
Yeah, sorry guys. Where I came on holiday basically in February 2020. Played a gig on the 31st of January in London, and then on the 1st of February in Bristol, and then I think like 2 days later I flew to Taiwan, and then within 2 weeks they'd shut the island down completely. No planes could get out, no planes could get in, and I was literally stuck here at least until August. Optionally, I couldn't get out of the country.
Wow, so that's what they told you. They said, like, that's not happening. No one in, no one out. Jeez.
All flights cancelled. The only people who could come back were actually Taiwanese citizens or Taiwanese residents who could actually get into the country once they locked it down. You couldn't even come here if you just could get on a plane. You literally had to be, you had to have some legal means of getting into Taiwan just to come back.
So what was the deal with them not letting people out though? Like I thought they'd be like, yeah, get the hell out of it, get the hell out of it, get out of it. You know what I mean?
No, for the first few months they just shut the borders. So the government just shut the airspace. So no planes were flying at all. That was it. They just locked it down. Because I guess at the beginning everyone thought it was going to be such a short period of time. I think the first time they kind of talked about it, it's like, 2 weeks, right? Let's stay in our houses for 2 weeks.
Yes, flatten the curve.
And then everything will be fine. So I think with that kind of, maybe not that exact impression, but that kind of mentality, in the same way they were like, well, let's just shut the borders for a month or whatever, and then it will be fine, and everyone would have sorted it out, and then we can just open up again. And that continued, and like we'd have a flight rebooked, and then it would just get cancelled because the government pushed the date and pushed the date and pushed the date. And then by the time we could fly, everywhere was getting crazy again. And if I flew back on my jacks and then came back again, I wouldn't be able to get back into the country because I don't have any sort of resident status here or anything, or didn't at the time. So I felt like I couldn't really leave. So yeah, we ended up spending our first Christmas here at the end of 2020. And that's mad, like Christmas in 35-degree weather.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's different.
Sweating, like Merry Christmas, all sweating and that. It's weird.
Yeah,
man.
and then obviously they locked everyone down in last Christmas and stuff again. So, if we'd have come home, we'd have been stuck from the airport to the house and then just stuck in the house. Whereas here in Taiwan, they dealt with it so well that they haven't had a single day of lockdown since we've been here. So, it's just we've been able to live our lives normally.
Yeah.
And most importantly, like I've got a little one. When we came out here, she just turned 1. And she's 3 now, so she's actually been over here longer than she's been in the UK. But
wow.
There's just that, and I know all the data and stuff talking about it's not so bad for kids, and it's like less infectious and less dangerous. But at the same time, if you had the option of staying in a place where everything was normal, or coming home to just know that you were going to sit in your house, and we just decided if we could stay here, let's stay here.
No, I hear that. What I say to people, as long as you feel safe, man, like wherever you feel safe is probably the best place, because it is down to, mentally, like having to deal with all of this, so it's better to be where you're comfortable. And I think, man, that's an amazing job, bruv, to be able to do that. You've relocated in all of this, with all of this going on, but then somehow still manage to put out music with the band. So, yes, of course, head honcho. So you've been running the band, basically, for people who don't know, Lazy Habits, crazy ass band, mainly known for their brass, their funk, the grooves, and obviously the front man holding down the mic, So it is MC Lazy, no?
Yeah, well, I started off as just Lazy Habits was my MC name, but I never wanted to just do it just myself. So I kind of got a band and then didn't change my name because it was a band, and then it just didn't really matter. So if I guest on other people's stuff, it's Lazy Habits, but as a band, we're Lazy Habits. So I guess it's a bit of a Jamiroquai type vibe, not sound wise. I just mean in terms of the name gets associated with him and the band, right?
Yeah.
It just in that sense, I guess, a little bit.
How did you get started with the band? Because just to be able to run that it must be a bit of a monster already. But how did the band get together?
Well, I grew up in bands really. When I was younger, sort of before I started listening to hip hop, and more specifically before I started finding out that British hip hop was a thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I was just playing in kind of rock bands or whatever type of bands, and then when I was at home.
Oh, I think we lost you a bit. See that? That's that live via satellite work. You know what I mean? Sometimes the satellite might just move.
Yeah, the satellite looks like it's moved the wrong direction.
Yeah. Well, depending on whether you're on a globe or a flat plane. Yes. Yeah, man. Because, boy, man, to run a band, jeez. And you got all these different people. That's a lot, man. So
yeah.
It'll be interesting to find out how.
And it's not just a normal band, as with just like guitar, bass, and drums. They've got like some weird instruments that you need to, good sound man for, and all the rest of it.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And especially as they always was at festival shows. So I suppose that sort of bigger instrumentation thing suits things like festivals as well. But also, it's important to get a good sound with all those different instruments.
Yeah, so for sure, man. That's hard work, isn't it?
But they've always been like, they've always been amazing when you catch them live.
Shout out, that's it. Fuck's sake, Bezos. Your boy says F for fuck's sake, Bezos. Yeah, man. Boy, I don't know. Like for me, you know what I mean? It's hard enough when you got like the crew in it. You got like the hype man, DJ, others doing this and that. That was hard work already. It's like you got a whole band. Like, jeez. Yes, bruv, we got you back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
Shout out to the Taiwan satellites.
Waiting to start, listening to you guys chat happily in the background for like 40 minutes, and then as soon as you start talking,
it's all good, man. People know already, man. The common sense is well. So you were saying that you started off within bands already before even knowing about like there was British hip hop or whatnot.
Yeah, so I was kind of sitting at home, you know, freestyling to myself and stuff in some crazy Yankee accent that I'd heard from whoever. You know, it's just something you knew you could never take out of the house, but I just loved doing because I just loved the vibe, you know. And so I think it took a minute until I sort of stumbled upon, I think it was probably Roots Maneuver first. And then from then somehow I picked up a Louis Slippers tape, and and from then I found out a whole world of stuff that I could suddenly identify with, you know. And it sounds weird, but when you hear someone like Roots Maneuver rapping about, you know, beans on toast, you think, oh, okay, cool, I can relate.
Yeah, of course.
I eat beans on toast,
and
I don't have pool parties with loads of bitches and Ferraris, and so, you know, it's that kind of relating to one thing or another thing. And when you hear someone that talks about, you know, the kind of shit that you can relate to, and then obviously like all the UK stuff then becomes massively relatable. And that Louis Slippers mixtape was a proper eye opener for me. So I'd always kind of been in bands and always thought the democracy element of bands sometimes was kind of at the detriment of the music. You know, when you're writing a song and suddenly everyone in the band has to, well, I haven't done my solo yet, or I haven't done my bit yet, and it's just like, I always wondered whether people were actually cared about the songs themselves or just wanted to just be in a band or whatever. So the idea of putting something together like Habits was, I was loving all the beat makers, you know, Harry Loves and all of those people, Louis and all of that lot who were out there making beats. And I was just like, oh, you know, if we made our own music, because I came from the band side, if we made our own music, if we just had a jam and recorded the jam, there would be like hours of music that you could then go through and sample. So you just creating your own library just from a jam. So it was kind of the basic idea, and then making samples, but then playing those samples live, you know, just finding the loop in the rehearsal and going, okay, let's just play that, let's repeat that, let's loop that, let's play that. And then just trying to make it switch from song to song like a DJ. So you kind of had that more live experience, but felt like a DJ MC vibe, but was liver, because obviously, you know, those live bands, you know, they have the ability to sound much bigger. I think nowadays it's much more obvious. As soon as rappers get big, they get massive, you know, massive bands for their live tours. When I saw Jay-Z at first few times at the Po Na Na in Shepherd's Bush, it was just DJ and him. And then the next time I saw him, I think it was Roundhouse with the full band and stuff, and you know, it's that level up to a bigger stage kind of vibe. And I remember going to the Kashmir Verb T launch party.
He's about to get into some juice.
Finger on head as well. It's like nice.
That's a really good segue. That's a nice segue, man. Finger on head, like, damn. Shout out to DJ Pork Scratchings. Oh, sorry, Pork Scratchings. DJ Pro Tracks. I said Pork Scratchings. Shout out to DJ Pro Tracks. He says a shark chewed through the underwater cable again. A shark chewed through the underwater cable again.
I think we're back.
We're back. All right. So you were saying Verb T and Kashmir. They were performing. You saw them performing somewhere. Verb T and Kashmir.
But I just it was at Cargo when they released that double album together. Do you remember that?
Oh, the Low Life one. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I went to that, and I thought the gig was great. They were great, but I just felt coming elevated so much more. And I was kind of coming from a band side of things where, you know, you played until you were amazing, and then you recorded your music, and then entering a world where the music started in the studio, and everyone was making music in the studio, and some of that would come to the live stage. So it was kind of like, I felt like the music that was coming from the hip hop side of things was amazing, but the performance side from the bands in general, well, that's where they kind of cut their teeth. So the band performances were much more like impactful and stuff. So I was just trying to kind of bring the two things together, I guess.
Jeez, man. And then, so what was the, you know, because like, obviously you're known, Lazy Habits is known for brass heavily. And so how was that getting people together and giving them the idea? You know, it must have been a bit tricky at first where people are like, is this going to work or not? In terms of making like hip hop with a brass,
Yeah, Yeah, well, I was living in Liverpool. I'd actually followed a band up there that I was in at the time, and just went and worked in Virgin megastores, like basically while they were all at uni, and I was just working in Liverpool, just waiting for them to finish so we could make music. So like, and then I kind of got in this little funk band, and there was a really nice brass section in the funk band, and I was always talking about this project that I wanted to start. And at some point, when I moved back down to London, because it was always going to happen, but when I did, I'd hook them up, and there was like the other MC who used to be in the band, Robin.
Yeah.
I met him in Liverpool. Same thing. I was like, when he left, I was like, look, I'm going to hook you up when I get, like I'm hook up with you when I get back, and I have this idea for a project, and maybe we can do something. Because he was literally the only other British rapper I'd ever seen live, like at the time.
For real.
Yeah. So I had this kind of, I'd been putting a seed in people's minds, certain players' minds, who were all like, up at university in Liverpool, but they were from London or Guildford or around that sort of area. So I kind of felt like when I came back, I already had a bit of a plan in place. And then I met this band called Imperial Leisure. Do you know those guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'd been friends for a while. Long story, I went to jump over the fence at Glastonbury on my jacks once, and we met on a train and became friends, and that was that. It was nuts, like proper like old school stuff.
Yeah.
And like 94 or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to London and we kind of met again, he was just like, oh, by the way, I rap in a band. And I was like, oh, I kind of do that a bit.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, I knew someone with a hip hop band in London, so they didn't have a hip hop a brass section, and I'd kind of was in this kind of discovery of UK hip hop that I was totally in love with, and I kind of brought my brass section into their band because my band wasn't ready yet. So I was kind of always kind of trying to keep it warm and trying to move forwards for when I was ready. So I kind of felt like when I actually was ready to do it, and I'd written a couple of songs in the studio with, like produced the studio, just me and another guy. I'd written a couple of beats, and I had enough to bring to a band. So that it was kind of easy once I'd started it, but it was like pre-planning for a couple of years, definitely.
Yeah, for sure, man. Even I think, Yamor was saying it's really interesting that you wanted to blend the two from such an early time in UK hip hop history, because obviously that one we weren't really hearing that. If at all, it might have been like at sort of Apricot Jam. John Z D had a live band, and a few events like that. But yeah, so that's interesting, man.
Yeah, I always wanted, like, I had this family getting at, I don't know why I can only think about Harry Love at the moment, but I definitely remember want to work with, and straight away I was just like, I think someone like Harry Love would be amazing because of the kind of sample choices that he was making. And I just thought, yeah, maybe we could bring Harry Love in, and he could come into a rehearsal, listen to us rehearse, and like produce the band like he was sitting in front of Pro Tools or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, like tell the drummer to cut this and do this rather than actually, doing it with your mouse and stuff. So I was that into it, trying to get a UK producer in to do something on that kind of vibe. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, smart, man. Slick. And then, so how did it come about? Because the other thing is that obviously you managed to do quite a few sort of big level gigs, off your own back, as opposed to being signed to a label. You're doing it all independently. And I've seen you work, man. I've been there seeing you on the computer, going back and forth with a few million tabs all opened up and all that. Do you know what I mean? Like, how did you get to that point? Like, what was the beginning stage in terms of, so say for artists now, if they're trying to, get to a point where they're at least gigging, what was the mindset?
I think it's there was a twofold mindset, and I think one of them was a bit of a mindset that didn't really make sense. And I think that part of the mindset was like, oh, I need to earn my stripes within the UK hip hop scene. So I need to go down to the open mics. I need to I need to be at the events. I need to do all the things. And so, I wanted to play, I didn't care. I turned down some management deals because I just wanted to do it on our own first. I didn't want to I didn't want to like someone to give us something. I wanted to earn an audience. I wanted to put records out on our own that people might buy and stuff like that.
That's how you know he's hip hop, boy. You wanted to do it the hard way.
Yeah.
Didn't want no easy route.
You know, I was going to say, I guess in retrospect, perhaps there was something a little bit naive about that and a little bit young, perhaps a little bit kind of punky, I guess, which is how I often think that, you know, UK hip hop in that sense was kind of like a punk movement. And, you know, it was like the voice of people, angry people, and not just angry, but it was an outlet. It was a voice, and I just
upset people.
I was liking it to something like that, and so I felt like I had to do those things, and we had to play those shows, and I was really happy to do that. But on the other side of things, you know, I grew up going to festivals, man. I started going Glastonbury when I was like 15, 16, and I was just going there with like 14 quid in my pocket, just hitching, jumping on trains, jumping over fences and stuff. I couldn't afford a Glastonbury ticket.
Wow.
But I loved festivals, and so I literally I sat at a desk and went on a website called Virtual Festivals. I think it's still there, but there are other festival websites like it. And I literally went through the A to Z of every single festival on that list, made a spreadsheet, went to every single one of the websites, made sure that they were, you know, right for us in terms of music wise, like, you know, like not a metal festival or whatever. And then I literally contacted every single one of those. And these are talking hundreds and hundreds. Like, it was like something like 90 plus pages of festivals, you know, that I was going through on this website. And maybe we got 5 or 6 off of that.
Wow.
But when we played those shows, I made sure that, like, because of my band background, that the band was fucking ready, sick. Do you know what I mean? Like, really tight for out the gate. I didn't want to play shows until we were like 6 months in rehearsals first, because I wanted it to be sick out of the gate. Yeah. And so whatever festivals we played that year, we got invited back to the next year. And obviously the first ones you're playing for nothing, or 50 quid or something like that, and then you can get invited back for a bit more, and then a bit more, and then people hear of you, because, you know, you got to stay on it and contact festivals and say you've played these festivals, so we'll let you play. And I think that was kind of what the hard working part was, really just getting on a computer and doing the research. And it's long and annoying, and yeah, I don't like it, and it's mostly no's or no replies. But if you don't put the work in, you're never going to get the shows. That's the way I used to see it.
Yeah, and I think you proved it as well. Like the fact that you managed to do that, you know, that's something that a lot of people would not. That shit they might not never know nothing about. They would not do. You know, like, it's the hard part is getting the work, but then even, you know, let's say like preparing yourself to even try and get the work. That's like the main, you know, all right, who am I going to contact? Like you said, you were breaking it down. Okay, is this the sort of festival that we would really be playing at? Nah, okay, move on. And then out of the, like you said, the 900 pages or whatever, you know, you managed to get a few gigs. That wouldn't have happened. Like, that wouldn't have happened if you didn't do that.
No, and you just reminded me, actually. There's
Shout to Beatbox Hobbit in the building.
we would like get to a festival, and the first thing we would do, and I've literally forgotten this until you just mentioned it. First thing we would do at the gate is, like, we would go to every single stage, try and find a stage manager and ask if any of the bands had cancelled, or if there was a spare slot or something like that. So, you know, I can't even remember if that ever worked, but that was how hungry we were. It was like, you know, right, we're playing some small ass show in the bar or something, and there's like, you know, let's pop around the other stages and see if someone couldn't make it. Like, see if so, you know, we were that hungry at the time.
Jeez, that's going in, man. And
that's funny, Hobbit's there, because that's the Beatbox Collective style festival appearance. It's like 3 shows in one night.
Anyway, is that Hobbit in the chat?
Yeah, Hobbit's in the chat, man. Watching that, good old. He said,
Jack's a good friend, man.
He said, the good old festival application hustle. Yeah, boy, been there, man. That's crazy. Yeah, so basically, so putting in that sort of work, and then, as you were saying, the gigs started coming in, and then more that people saw what you did, they actually saw the product, because that's what we want, innit? As long as they see us live, then now they know, like, all right, yeah, these lot don't play around. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so from there, that's when things started like moving towards the direction that you were planning.
Yeah, we got a gig with a crew called Chaiwala. You might know them from playing with Smokey Joe, maybe.
Yeah, Chaiwala. They've got a spot. They do Glastonbury as well as I think they have a spot at Boomtown as well.
They used to do Glastonbury. They used to do Boomtown. They don't actually do those now, but they used to. So but saying that is like if you got on a show with Chaiwala and you played well, there was a chance they would take you on for the season. And if you think about that tent is like a little Lollapalooza in a way. It kind of, they pick up a lineup and they'll keep that lineup for the entire summer.
Right.
You know, so if you get on the lineup, you know, back then you used to end up doing Secret Garden, Boomtown, Kendall Calling, Green Man, Shambhala, you know, so you'd get on a run of 6 or 7 festivals and it would look great. You know, it would be great because you were playing with the same bands every weekend and they become your family. And, you know, we've come up with our own little side projects out of things like that and shared musicians, and it kind of created a community with those guys. And I mean, like Ty used to play with them, Gentleman's Dub Club, Little Dragon, Roots Maneuver. They, you know, like even Ed Sheeran started with those guys. So, you know, they've had a really good caliber of artists going through. They choose really good artists there. They're not one of the big stages at a festival, although they're still like 1,000-cap tent. But they're kind of, they become known as the vibe place really at festivals, where people go and watch a bunch of bands that they don't know but they know are going to be good, rather than bands they've heard of on the lineup. So it's a really great place to find good music. And yeah, so once we fell in with those guys, it became a bit easier.
And so like and the other thing as well is like the style of music, like not, you know, hip hop doesn't really spread to every type of festival. Like, so did you ever find it a bit of a struggle as well, the fact that you were pushing like a hip hop band?
It's kind of weird because the struggle, I think, as a hip hop band comes from the preconception of what people consider hip hop.
Yeah.
So you always, like, once you get past that obstacle of people understanding that there are different styles of music within a genre, then you know, then I felt like we were safe. Once we were on stage, we could prove it. But I also felt it was the other way. Sometimes you get booked for a hip hop event, and suddenly you're in some, you know, what they used to consider an urban event, and we were totally out of place because people were playing, you know, like you know, Mark Morrison R&B type vibes and stuff like that. And suddenly you're like, oh, this isn't going to hit. And then you get on stage, and again it would work for some reason. People would just actually enjoy it. And then we have ended up playing on lineups with rock bands and metal bands and stuff like that. And again, people enjoy it. It's, you know, it's kind of weird because, I mean, obviously a lot of I used to listen to a lot of, I don't know, like grunge and shit when I was growing up. So I always felt like a lot of the kind of the stops and the gaps and the space in the tunes comes from that kind of music. So I think it hit a lot of aesthetics in a lot of different genres just from what the people in the band would bring into the songs. I mean, obviously there's a bunch of people who don't like it as well, of course, but it was weird to us how many people from who were into different types of music actually enjoyed us as a band.
I think it keeps it open as well. The fact that you can do that, you know, you're not just going to be playing in one particular type of festival or jam as well because of that.
Yeah, and because you're you know, you've got a live background, and so for because you're playing alongside other live bands, you're probably a lot of festival people's first introduction to like anything close to sort of rap and hip hop culture and all the rest of it. You know? So you're actually out there sort of on the front line, pushing it to new audiences as well, and bringing in new audiences. There's people who may not have even heard of UK hip hop unless they'd have seen, you know, your band alongside another band or something. So, you know, it's accessible in all different ways.
Yeah. I think that's definitely the case. It did definitely kind of endear us to a bunch of people who who didn't have hip hop acts at their stages. And I think once we were playing Glastonbury and I started getting on really well with the people who used to run the Jazz World stage. That's PRS stuff, which we can talk about later as well. But yeah, so I fell in with that lot, and straight away I was, like Task Force would be playing up at 3 a.m. up at in a tent in the Shangri-La area of the corner of Glastonbury that's really beautiful at night, and I would make sure that the booker's assistant came with me to watch Task Force.
Wow.
I was just like, and I pushed her in front of Chester after the show, and I was just like, book these guys, so I was really about trying to bring our lot in, and because I really felt like I loved that kind of music so much that I really felt like it was something that needed to become more known and more heard.
Definitely.
So when people were like, oh wow, I didn't know people made music like that, and I was just like, well, there's a whole world of people who make music like this. Let me show you.
It's
mad, isn't it? When you think back to when you first got introduced to like UK hip hop, because it's a similar thing like what you were saying earlier. Like you didn't really know that there was a scene like that. And like my first memories are sort of like we used to sneak into my friend's older brother, his room when he was out, and so he had all these records there, and so he would have like all the American stuff, like KRS, you'd see EPMD, all these different albums and that we're looking at, but then he'd have some UK singles as well, like Hijack or Gunshot, so you'd be looking like, oh right, this is how it is here, but you still didn't really get the full feel for it until it was time to like go out and see it. And I think it was probably for me maybe a Mudlims gig or something like that I went to, and I was like, oh shit, there's all these. I'm seeing Skinny Man, Mungo, all the Mud Fam and that, as well as the Berry Crew, and you're just like, rah boy, there's a whole world out here with this UK hip hop thing, and then you start hearing more names, you're listening to 279 or whoever, and it's like, shit, man. Yeah, like what was that like for you, man? Your first introduction? You said it was a Roots Maneuver tune you heard first, but then when you found out that there was actually a scene,
yeah, that was kind of weird because imagine your first introduction is like Louis Slipper's £10 bag, and then all of a sudden you're not just found one new artist, you've found 30.
Yeah.
Like, off one thing, and it's just like all of a sudden it's just like shit, wow, okay, and then you go record shopping and you find Mr. Bongos and Selected Disc and Deal Real and all of those places, and then you start going there every week, and then you start getting to know people there, and then they start pulling records for you, so you go in every week and they'd have pulled some records for you to listen to. And then again you bump into someone like Chess or someone dropping their records off in the shop, and you'd be like, oh my God, these people like drop their own records off their shops. And so straight away, I think one of the first records I picked up off that was Brain Tax first record. And I think you got intros on 2 of those albums, right? You're on the first track on both of those, right?
Oh, am I?
Is that right? Yeah, first one of Mix £10 Bag, Mix 1, I think.
Am I?
You're on
with
you're not on the
Brain
intro
Tax
track?
and nah, I don't know if it's the intro track because I remember it's the boom, ba-dum, ba-dum,
Yeah,
ba-dum.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's the
yeah.
tune with I think it's Jest as well, isn't it? Brain Tax and Jest.
Yeah. And then I was like, all right, Brain Tax album, and I think are you on the first track of that? I think it's like
Don't
I know you're
Drag
on
Me
it.
In. I think maybe track 2 or 3, maybe on
Yeah.
What's it called?
And again,
Biro Funk.
Biro Funk, yeah.
Biro Funk, yeah.
Easy
which
Clean,
I have on
yeah.
vinyl. And then from that period of time, like I mean, if you look at my record collection, sorry.
No, didn't say anything.
Oh right, I think it was me feeding back. I think from that moment on, like for that period of time, I have pretty much everything that was released on vinyl for like a year or two when it was all kind of like Crazy Golden and stuff. And then I started going to shows. I found out Kung Fu because I used to hang around Deal Real because I used to know these guys called the Untold. So like, Compound
I remember Untold.
Store.
Jeez, are you hanging with them? Yeah, okay. I remember Untold.
Well, my other MC went to school with them, and Yeah, and so Joe Compound was pretty I mean, they didn't put out much music. They didn't do many shows, but he killed Deal Real every time he went there. So we'd go down Deal Real every Friday after work, and then we'd like go Organics with those guys on the weekends. And then it was like Kung Fu, and then so it all just kind of went on from there, and yeah, it was great. It was like just this complete new world that had opened, and yeah, it was sick.
Did you hit the open mic at all at Kung Fu?
That's what I was going to mention to you the other day. First time I went down Kung Fu, and it was one of those ones where like there was literally like 40 people standing on stage with you hosting it.
Oh shit!
And
Jesus.
I got up.
I
was like pretty sure I went with my girl in it, and like the last thing you want to do in a place like Kung Fu is leave your girl's side for more than 5 minutes, right? There's only 3 of them in there or something.
Yeah.
And
that's the early days. The early days, boy. It was grimy, man.
So I got up and I just did my verse, and then I just got straight back off the stage. And you actually stopped the music and you went, listen, can everyone just fucking do what he did? Get up, do your verse, and then just fuck off. and I think it was more because I was just, like I didn't know anybody, and I was just, not intimidated, but like a bit nervous and stuff. So I just kind of got up, shuffled up, did my thing, and then jumped off. But I remember you making a comment about how you wished everyone had that kind of etiquette. Just to like, not just like muscle shoulder each other for the next 20 minutes trying to like yank on a mic cord away from somebody else or something like that. I did them. Yeah.
Yeah. Them early open mics, boy, they were grimy. It was like, calm down, bruv. Like, you're breathing on me now. You know what I mean? Move back 6 foot 6 away, bruv. Yeah, man. But that's the breeding ground, man. That's where you learn. I always say to people, like, the open mics are important because you're gonna be doing this now, not in front of your brethren who are like, yeah, man, that sounds sick, yeah, bruv. Oh, I smashed it, yeah, that verse. They're not always gonna be like that, but majority of the time it's yes, man. If you go in front of people you don't know, and especially people that are MCs as well, like they're trying to, hone their craft. It's like, okay, now you're gonna get the true response. You know what I mean? It's gonna be either, and this is the same thing in front of a crowd, a whole bunch of people who don't know you. They're like, all right, I want to hear what this MC's got. So you're either going to get, you know what I mean, booed, or it's going to be, it's not going to be a pleasant time, let's just say.
No.
If people are saying you should get off the mic and whatnot. Or you could get people screaming their head off, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, you smash it. So now either way, you're going to find out what you need to do. If they're not, if they're not really with it, then you got to work on that a bit more. Go back. All right, let me come with something better than that. I got to top that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah, if they're making noise, all right, let me come with more of that shit. Sometimes you might get that no response where people are just quiet. That's happened to me before. And you kind of wonder to yourself, like, okay, was that good or not? And what I suss from it is that that's usually when people are like, oh, this shit's pretty good, but they don't know who you are. And they probably need to hear more to make sure. But a lot of it is like, shit, I don't know who this is, but that was pretty sick. So don't ever be, when it's quiet, don't feel like, oh shit, maybe that means you're doing something good. If they're booing, if they're throwing tomatoes at you and shit, yeah, then. But the open mic is there. Yeah, bigger man says crickets. When you get the crickets, not crickets. That's what I'm saying. It's not even crickets. It's like silence, like and people are looking around like, does anyone know who this is? Or they kind of want to big you up, but they feel a bit baked. They're like, yeah, but maybe other people think it's shit. You know how we are, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, it's in my opinion, the open mic is really where MCs, you have to find one. Like, fuck all this shit. Even if it's online, but you have to find an open mic to really find out if what you're doing is right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I kind of loved that vibe, man. I like that kind of side of it where you had to kind of prove yourself. It was the closest thing that I'd come across to bands having to prove themselves. When you used to go to like an indie night or a rock night or something, they'd have crammed 5 bands on in like 3 hours. Each band gets like 20 minutes, and that was like kind of cutthroat in the same way that the kind of the open mic scene was. So
Right.
you know,
So-
I kind of felt like you were playing for another gig or something like that.
Yeah.
Who do you think is more brutal, the hip hop crowd or the indie crowd?
The hip hop crowd.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you were fishing for that. You knew that answer was inevitable. You ain't gonna get that.
But with bands, there's a similar thing in that, like, you're not good enough musicians as the other bands, or you know, you're not the same music as the two other bands that are on, and all. You know what I mean? So you can go to some town. So you say, like, we used to play in Camden or something. You go to Camden. I'm not from that area, so you go to Camden. There'd be a certain type of band there. And if your band's not like that band, you just get sort of
scenes. So they're like, they're good, but they're not like.
And then there's the other thing: if everyone just leaves when your band's on anyway, so you know, they don't bother sticking around to watch your band. They watch their friend's band and they just go.
And then they're off. They're like, fuck this other band.
But with hip hop nights, the turnaround's so quick, you don't really get time for people to leave. They're sort of like, right, next person, straight on, next person's on, you know.
True.
Sort of. This is pros and cons.
I guess it's more camaraderie in
right.
that sense, isn't it?
But that's why I was interested to hear what your response was. I agree with you, by the way. I think the hip hop crowd are a tougher crowd.
Tough crowd out here,
the
man.
The scene as a whole, in the UK scene as a whole, I found not cliquey as such, but I did find it pretty hard to come in, and it was pretty purist. You know, like people would be like, "Oh, you got a band." That's not really hip hop.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
you know,
people would say that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
so
I used to
definitely
get that. I used to get that.
I don't like hip hop bands, and I was like, all right, cool, fine.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, all right, you know, that's fine, it's fine. But
Yeah. And this is the thing as well, is that people can make that judgment as well. Once you say you're a hip hop band, they can just think of a hip hop band that they've heard before. Oh yeah, I didn't really like them, and then you just go, oh, I don't really like hip hop bands. It's like, yeah, but you haven't heard us yet. What the fuck are you talking about, bro? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the shit where, you know, but that's how people are, man. And you just roll with it, you know. Once they hear you, or once they see you, then it's a whole different ball.
Yeah, I'm sure you changed a lot of people's minds anyway with such a good band.
Just like the quietly confident person. I didn't need to talk shit or do anything like that. If we could get on stage, I was confident that the people who might like it would like it. The people who are never going to like it are never going to like it. That's fine. But you know, we could change some minds if someone would let us on stage. I always felt like that.
Well, you definitely. I liked it. Like I said, man. When I went to go. I think I went with Shorty Blitz and that. I went to go see Mos Def live, Shepherd's Bush Empire. Woo, bruv. Excited. I'm like, yo, this is gonna be crazy, yeah. Get there, get some drinks in, probably blaze the couple outside, you know what I mean? Just to make sure you keep that balance. Don't want it all to be alcohol. You need some of it to be THC too. Keep that balance, yeah. Get in, and then bam. You're like, yeah, the opening act, come out. Horns, going crazy. I was like, right. And I think you might have had Soul with you as well. Miss Baby Soul was with you that
night, we did,
right?
That's the first night she introduced me to Colin as well.
Yeah. That's it. So yeah, and but yeah, I was just like, yo, these lot are killing it. MC, yeah, you were smacking it up, and then the hype man, you know, he was dressed very smart as well. Robin, he was dressed very smart, but he had his one hand in the pocket, one hand on the mic, like holding the mic, and another hand in the pocket, all casual. And you know what I mean? That's the bit that threw me off, where I was like, right. It was different. Obviously, now looking back, I'm like, yo, it worked, because it made me look and go, what is going on there? But the thing is, this is what I want to get to, is the fact, like, yes, you getting that gig, I got to see you outdo Mos Def. Like the supporting act outdid the headline act. You know what I mean? That night, I was like surprised. I was like, yo, and you know, Mos Def, and he did some rapping thing with the drums, like he was rapping with the drum, but I was like, bruv, nah, man, you didn't. So yeah, from then I was like, yo, lazy habits are about that life, boy. They will take over your shit if you give them the chance. Do you know what I mean? So that was an amazing set, man. But yeah, talk to me about the story behind the hand in the pocket hype man. Because I was trying to get Jargon to do that for years, but he wouldn't do it for me.
I met Robin up in Liverpool when I was up there working, and he was in a hip hop band. I was like in a funk band because I sing. Well, I used to sing, just sing.
Oh, for real?
And yeah, that's how I kind of came up. So rapping was kind of like a hobby on the side that kind of became a thing. And he was a rapper in a band, and like he's got a philosophy degree. I really liked his lyrics. I thought he was a great MC. And you know, we kind of jumped on each other's stages and stuff for the time we were up there. And then he came back like a year before me, and he literally, like I said, he was probably the first British rapper I'd met in the flesh. And I thought he was great. I think his lyrics are great. And so I brought him in pretty early when I went down. Originally more as a hype man, like you said. But he's a great writer. His lyrics are great, and he wrote his way onto a bunch of stuff on the first album, and became a fully fledged member of the band at the time.
Yeah, man. I mean, and he had that swagger, man. The hand in the pocket. You know what I mean? I think it was a tweed suit as well, wasn't it?
I think I had my grandfather's tweed suit on.
Oh, yeah,
he was wearing the black number.
Yeah, you look.
I used to wear my grandfather's suit as a lucky charm.
Boy, smacked it, man. Yeah, that show was crazy, bruv. It was something to be proud of as well. You know what I mean? Knowing that it's a UK band, and it's the first time I heard you guys as well.
Yeah, we did it. I think we did 3 shows of the tour, and it was like Shepherd's Bush, then Bristol, then back to Shepherd's Bush. And the first Shepherd's Bush show was like, walking in the Shepherd's Bush Empire via the side door. We were just like, oh my days. Like, I actually went to see Mos Def there when he toured Black on Both Sides. So I was at that venue in the crowd watching Mos Def. Like, and then suddenly I was walking in the side door, supporting Mos Def, and I think the person that went in that side door wasn't the same person who came out. We thought we were going to have dinner with Mos Def, and we were going to talk about things. And I didn't meet Mos Def for another 3 years.
Wow.
After that show, like I never met him. I never saw him. I mean, he would arrive. He'd arrive in a car 40 minutes late, and just go straight on stage, and then come straight off stage, and go into the van, and he was gone.
Lauryn Hill style.
And so that first show, we don't remember it. Like, we kind of played the show, finished the show, got to the dressing room, and everyone was just like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And that was the first taste of being on a massive stage and just blinking and it was over, and just not knowing I didn't know what we'd done. Couldn't remember anything. It was just one of those weird ones. And over those 3 days, by the time we came back and played it the second day, it kind of felt like we'd changed as a band. We'd kind of taken some crazy step forwards into playing on these bigger stages and stuff, and just being there, being present in mind on stage, and just trying to enjoy it a little more. And Baby Soul obviously was with us for those 3 dates, and she was already, pretty sure she was already playing with Paloma. And so she had that. She knew how it was. She knew what we should be doing and how we should be, and she was so helpful, kind of calming us down and just easing us into the whole thing. And that was a crazy experience. I'll never forget those shows. And Baby was the, without doubt, she was like the cool head, the professional on that stage.
Can you talk through like, so you were saying obviously, one of the major steps you had to make was like going through a whole list of different festivals and promoters and whatnot. But then also, obviously, you've got to then handle the bookings as well, right? Like when things are coming in, or people you've contacted when they're getting back to you, and now you got to look at dates, you got to check that everyone's free and whatnot. That must have taken a few years to sort of get your head around, okay, how can I make this workflow easy for me and still write lyrics? You know what I mean? and all that?
I honestly think I only cracked that last year.
Serious?
Yeah,
What?
I think so. I mean,
Wow.
I think there was a time when it was better, and then people get a little bit older, you got more responsibilities and stuff, and we went through a lot of times, a lot of shows of playing with like one member of the band was a dep, like someone we'd have to hire in and rehearse and stuff, and I think when you're doing that, the show can still be amazing because we've never had a bad player play with us. They're always amazing players, but to get as good as everybody else isn't just about rehearsing. It's about playing a bunch of shows together. There's no kind of there's no better rehearsal you can get than actually playing shows. Doing you can rehearse in a room as much as you want, but it's completely different once you get on stage. And I always felt like the show wasn't 100% as good as it could be. Or if you get a dep in for one show in a run of 3 or 4, then you've got to train that guy up as much as you're again, who doesn't know all the songs, and then you can't really work on all the kind of the little tricks and little bits and bobs you can do in a show that can really engage an audience, that aren't really about what you're playing or how you're playing the songs, but just how you deliver those. Like your little stops, your little breaks, and that would all have to go out the window if we had a dep in with little time and stuff. So I think with this album, we've been able to kind of just book so far in advance that I haven't really, we were like, these are the dates, and if you can't do one, then you can't do any of them.
Wow.
Just for this run, you're not out of the band or anything. Just, it's so important that we play the show, especially, considering how much time we've got. With me being over here, the rehearsal time's short. We haven't been rehearsing every week, like we used to. And so it's a case of just getting all the players in one room, making the best show that we can, and then touring that show. And then looking at the next batch of shows and making sure that the entire band can do that batch of shows again. And so I felt like just trying to block stuff in advance, it's pretty easy to find out who's available 5 months in advance, 6 months in advance. You're not like, oh, I can't do that night, I've got dinner with Judy or something. You haven't booked dinner with Judy 6 months in advance. So with regards to that, I've found that was a better way. I mean, keeping a diary updated is super important. Having a list of deps beforehand was super important. So before, we had a rule where if we had to have more than two players in the band from our pool of players who knew the material, if we had to do that, then the show, we wouldn't do a show. So I mean, that if I'm honest, is probably the most annoying, frustrating part of the thing, of the whole thing. And
organizing, getting the band together and making sure everyone's free. Hectic, right? But I mean, bruv, and props for you to be able to do that, man, because I've seen people at work doing that, and I'm just like, wow, I don't know if I'd have the patience, man. I do not know, because you got to deal with, not to say egos in a bad way, but you got to deal with everyone's different type of personality, and some you get them people that you just know they're not as reliable as they make out. All right, they don't even hear what you're saying. You're talking to them and they're like, yeah, but you're like, bruv, nah, are you gonna be there? Yeah, we gotta leave 8:30. Like, make sure the flight is at this time. All that stuff can get on top, I can imagine.
Yeah, we've been through a few of those people missing planes, people missing vans, people sleeping through, we've had our share of that, but we kind of got through it. But you're right about the personality thing. It's like, you can't, no one can be spoken to in the same way. Some people like the carrot, some people respond better to a stick. Some people, they won't read an email if it's over 10 lines long. And that's just different personality traits. I don't mean like just people in my band. I just mean the way people digest information, what inspires people to do, to do things, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I hear that for sure, man. And that's why I admire it, man, because it seems like it's a lot of work, and I can imagine it is anyway. But
I mean,
go on.
I was just going to say, we do have an agent now, like and we have had for a little while, but we, considering that our first album is 10 years old this year, there was at least half of that we were doing it ourselves. Yeah.
Damn.
So
release time now. Then you got a new release coming now.
Do you want to should we just do plugs quickly for everyone?
Plug. Yes. Shout out to the crew.
Before we move on to the new album stuff.
Yeah, you're right. We got to do that, man. Shout out, I see through the script. Shout out to Script in the building, man. You lot, make sure you check out his podcast. I believe it's every weekend, man. Script Hackers, where they go in on the gematria. You know what I mean? That's some shit you might not never know nothing about. We had him on a few weeks ago, man, and he broke down some crazy ass stuff. Yeah, end of last year. It was amazing, man. So yeah, check that out.
Where can what's the best way of people getting hold of you, James, and seeing what's going on with you lot?
Well, lazyhabits.com or just generally on the socials. We're kind of lucky with the old Google search. If you type in our name, you just get us and Albert Einstein quotes. So
about your band.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's the other thing. When we talk about like lazy habits, you turn up 5 minutes to a sound check, and suddenly a pissed off sound engineer saying, "I know why you're called Lazy Habits, but it actually does come from an Albert Einstein quote."
Oh, okay.
So Google us and you'll find the Albert Einstein quote or us. But yeah, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff.
Yes, and we see you got a bunch of gigs coming up for from February going into April. There's a bunch of gigs coming up, so Mother Lovers better be ready. We'll get into that on the other side, though. Let's give a shout out to our brother. Shout out to Sam Egger, man. CannasseursUK.com, Mother Lovers. I'll say it again. Cannasseurs. You know what I mean? Connoisseur. Feels good to say it. CannasseursUK.com. When I'm telling you, Dan, another game changer, it's that CBD, man.
What, the cream?
Yeah, the cream.
Did you get the delay spray?
No. I got the delay spray. What the hell was the delay spray, man? I got the cream and the little squirty bottle with the CBD oil. Woo! Bruv, it works wonders, man. Like, I know you don't really bun, like, no. Days are done.
I'll be off my head if I had that
when
spray.
When you do the CBD and you're blazing, the shit fucks you up. Like, you don't have to smoke as much. Nah, man, because the shit's just leveling out. Like, yo, okay. Yeah, you want a bit more of it? Bruv. Yeah, it feels good, man. And the sleep as well. Like, you sleep like a baby. Like, woo. Yeah, so, and that's the full spectrum one I got. But there are loads of different products on there containing CBD, all natural. You know what I mean? You ain't got to worry about no other binders, fillers, or whatever other stuff that might mess with your skin. There are topical products as well as stuff that you can ingest, like the chocolate stirrers. Woof, CBD chocolate stirrers, bruv. You just put it in the hot water. And
they look good.
Yeah, it's banging, man. And yeah, definitely look them up. CannasseursUK.com. And you can get a whopping 20% off all your orders when you type in SYMNNKNA, Mother Lovers. You know what that is. Some shit you might not never know nothing about. Say it with me now. Shit you might not never know nothing. Yeah, all right, forget it, man. You know.
It's good of them to do that. Very good of them to do that.
Fucking up, man. Jesus Christ.
So, did you do a... Sorry, James. What we normally have every couple of weeks is we have a thing called MysDiggi Investigates.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
Which is where we ask
really important question.
A really important question, an investigative question.
I'm trying to get down to the bottom of who we are.
Run through the answers of those quickly before we get back to them.
You want to get into Mice Investigates? All right, check this out. This week, Mother Lovers. You know, I had to get back out there, back out in these streets, find out what's really going on in this world, what's going on in my life, what are people doing with themselves. And we had to find out the answers to this really important question. This week, what would you consider to be your dream job? Hit us up in the comments. Your dream job, Mother Lovers. What would you consider that to be? Yours is probably some kind of Masonic, Something to do with building using 90-degree angles, compass in a square. Go on.
I have to think about it. I'll come back to me.
Yeah, it's true. It's a hard one to think about, isn't it? The ideal job. What would that be?
Oh, James, do you have an ideal job? Are you doing it already?
I think maybe. I always kind of try to position myself in a way that one thing kind of fed another. So everything I do now is music based, whether that's composing for film or TV or commercials or shit like that. So I even teach a bit at master's level, just as a guest lecturer, industry stuff, like stuff I've been talking about. So I think to be able, if you talk to 15-year-old me, if you told them they could make enough money off of music to just buy a house and live humbly, then yeah, dream job, definitely.
That's interesting, man. Yeah, dream job. Mine, maybe like I would be conserving dolphins. I reckon that would be my dream job on an island. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You and
I go there 6 months, like during.
Do you have a particular? What do they call them? A school of dolphins or shoal of dolphins? Do you have a particular one, or is it you just sort of let that one go and then you go and find another load?
Nah, just a bunch of a school, like, and I just help them. You know what I mean? Learn shit and talk telepathically to them and shit. Yeah, that'll be the one, boy.
DJ Pro Tracks, cannabis quality control inspector.
Yep.
Kenny Rebel, bushcraft teacher.
All weed tester.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weed testing mother lovers out here. That's what we like to see, man. Shout out to Yamor. She said earlier, connoisseur or strain hunter. You know what I mean? But I paid one. Because there are a bunch of us that don't get paid for doing this shit. So you better buy that. Yo, Fresh as Tomorrow says bikini inspector. Yeah, why not, man?
Yeah. Flying
Monk SP. Yeah, shout out to the Split Profits. Flying Monk said Kung Fu blaxploitation film director. Yo, yeah, some of them films though, it is hilarious. Like right, some Steven Seagal moves, boy. Shout out to Steve. Steve Horse says, someone paying me to go fishing would be nice, as in the type I like, not for the table, couldn't do that. Yeah. I swear, that's what he said. Type I like, not for the table, couldn't do that. So I guess not fish that you'd eat. I don't know. We'll work that out another time. Hydrofunk Records says, being me. Deep. You know what I mean? It's true. It's hard work being you. So why not be the ultimate job? E-Flame O says, toy inventor or a designer.
That's an honest one.
Yeah, and especially a pure toy designer, not none of these twisted toy designers out there.
No.
You see some of the shit they got these kids playing around with, man. Like I was in the post office today, yeah. I was sending out, shout out to Don Smith, you got a package coming, bruv. And when I was paying for my shit, and then I looked down and there was this, it was like sweets, but they were called doo-doo sweets or something like that, or poo sweets. And it was like, yeah, you know, some kind of whatever sweets, but it's like shaped like poo. I was like, what the hell? I picked it up and I showed it to the teller. I was like, right, you know, like, you really selling this? I didn't say that, but I'm trying to telepathically do it like I do with the dolphins. I don't know if it worked or not. But I went like that, and then he was like, yeah, people pay for this, you know? I was like, yo, man, you're selling doo-doo to the kids, making them eat it, literally.
At least they're not just disguising it as other sweets. I mean, the sweets are literally just crap. So
true,
just making it look like it.
Yeah, I guess they're telling them subliminally, innit? Yeah. Like, yo, this is shit, and you're gonna buy it, you're gonna eat it, and enjoy this shit. You're actually gonna come back for more of this shit straight after school. All right, this kind of goes with the name. So, Mr. DJ Random said, cocaine making porn star helicopter pilot soldier. Just because. Yeah, man. I think he picked the right one there. You know what I mean?
I'd watch that film.
You make a movie. Yeah. You make a movie out of that one, man. Funk One said THC tester, snowboard off pister, hip hop mosh pitter, art-loving blagger. That was quite poetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sound like bars. Yeah, definitely.
Not knowing me says there's no such thing as a dream job. Happiness comes from who you are, not what you do for a living. I know professional athletes who hate the job they do. And so I said, yours must be party pooper. Because, you know, that was nice of him to say that. But we didn't need that right there, you know what I mean? Who's finding out from these mother lovers what kind of job they want, man? You ain't got to come up in here.
We've got IBMCs in the chats. Supervillain, that's a good job. Yeah.
Yeah, supervillain would be sick, innit?
And then Hobbit is saying 5-star holiday tester, minimum contract of 3 months per job.
Hey, with the swimming pool. I bet he's with the swimming pool.
And
I thought that job was just called influencer these days.
It's true, you know. Influencer, man. So how do you feel about this influencer thing? You know, considering it's like you've been doing, you know what I mean, the opposite in a way, like making sure people come to you for gigs and whatnot. So it's like using your actual talent, the music, to influence them. And then now it's like, oh, it's that easy that you just post loads of pictures where it looks like you're on holiday somewhere, and now you get a whole bunch of followers and you can get anywhere you want. Like, you know what I mean? What kind of world do you think we're living in?
It's a weird timeline. It's a very strange timeline.
It is, man. It is. Like, the shit cracks me up, man. You literally, like, someone can just turn into a star over the course of like 3 or 4 months now, because they're doing some crazy shit online or whatever. And then a bunch of people just want to keep seeing them do that crazy shit. Next minute, they can go and record a tune. But yeah, I got my song on Spotify.
I was going to say, the thing about it, I think that is important, is that kids are super clued up now. And by kids, I don't mean like super young people. The people that I sort of teach sometimes about music industry stuff, and I read their sort of their business plans as part of their projects and stuff. And these people already have, you know, blockchain contracts, NFT stuff, you know, like TikTok profiles, marketing spending. These people, they know what they're doing, and yeah, it is mad, but it isn't easy. It takes a business brain to do that. So, you know, it seems to be that, and I've always thought that it was the side of me that had a business brain that would want to do all the paperwork side of things in order to be able to enjoy the other thing properly. So in that sense, I do rate the work ethic of it. It's a job to do that. You know, it is a job. You know, it does take all day. Yeah, like and you have to play algorithm games. And if you think about it as a musician, all we think about is how do we crack those algorithm games. And all right, they might not have what we consider to be, you know, soul infused content as such, but they have the ability to get their content across to you, and that's a game that we as independent musicians need to become a part of, need to learn how to do.
It's tricky though, right? Because it kind of entails a certain type of attitude towards like putting yourself out there. Do you know what I mean? Where you know, like I'm saying, you've done it in a way where you haven't had to do that. You know, like I find for a lot of us from a certain era, especially in terms of putting out music, we were used to doing it in a physical way, and you know, not just like talking about CDs, tapes, and vinyl and whatnot, but also actually being out there. You know, going to the record store or whatnot. But now it's a different thing, and then let alone you don't feel like you have the same presence as you would have had before. It more feels like you're sort of begging people to check this thing. You know what I mean? Like you keep asking and whatnot, as opposed to just going here and people go, oh, bro, check this out, check, you know. And so yeah, it's sort of tables turn in a weird way, but you know, like I was saying, I think you've managed to do that from way back when it was even a lot harder to do that. You know, like get yourself out there independently, and for people to show you that much respect as they would to a signed band, you know, a band that have like the marketing behind them or whatever. That says a lot, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I guess it was belief in what we did. And I think also that hustle for gigs thing, it does come from the band side of things. You know, it's like they were always hustling for gigs and stuff. And when I was, you know, when my band first moved to Liverpool, and I was down in Kent. I'm from Enfield, but I was living down in Kent. And when my band left, I was just putting on shows instead, because suddenly I didn't have a band, and I still wanted to do music, so I would just put bands on and stuff. And so, you know, I was like promoting little bits and bobs when I was like, I don't know, 17 something, 18. So yeah, I just always loved doing stuff, and that legwork ethic from being in a band was always there. Thus sending your demos off to record labels, and, you know, hearing the story of Bjork being signed to One Little Indian, and then, you know, this massive deal coming in from this massive label, and then letting her go, and just, you know, sending your demo off to One Little Indian and actually getting a physical letter back that said, you know, thanks but no thanks. You know, that was all part of the hustle back then, man. It was just like, if you wanted something to happen, you had to do it, because I think, you know, show my age, and I don't think there was a Facebook. I mean, we had MySpace, I guess, but
the good old days, the good old MySpace days, mate. The top 8. Dad, remember you had me in the top 8 for about 5 months. Remember that? Oh, mate.
Oh, MySpace, yeah. Then he had the top 20, but we also had Loot.
Loot.
Yeah, do you not remember Luke?
Nah, I didn't get that deep. You see, Dan went deep, man.
But NME, Melody Maker, any of these things, you know, that was what you used to have. You had to like put adverts in the back of those things, or like.
Oh, Luke! Wow.
Not so much for music.
Well, you could have your text battles on ukhh.com. I even used to do
that. Wow. Text battles, boy.
Yeah, I like, you know, with Stigger the Dump and people like that. Just little netsies.
Where's Bruce Willis, man? This was the time he'd pop up there. Shout out to Blue Fliggy. Remember Bluefoot on there? DJ Bluefoot.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Wow, man. It seems like such a great time, man. Definitely missed, innit?
Yeah, definitely, man. I miss all of those, that vibe, those nights, that scene. Yeah, it was fun. It was really good.
So let's talk about the new project then. The name, the vibe behind it, the curation. How did you put it together? Like, obviously being away and whatnot.
I finished the last vocal on it on February, whatever it was, like the day after the show or something like that. So 2020. So it in essence, everything but the strings and a lot of mixing were pretty much done. A friend of mine called John Hendicott, who actually produced Chip Diddy Chip, that first Chipmunk single, like when he went major. But he was just a mate. We met him DJing at Chai Wallace. He's a great producer. He made the Joe and Sekou album and a few other things. And from first album, we wanted to work together, but it just didn't. You know, things don't happen sometimes. It took me 10 years to work with Nutty P. So then it came around for this third album, and he lives in LA now, and we were just like, fuck it, let's do it remotely anyway. So we were already working remotely when we started on the album in terms of mixing. And so we pretty much finished all the instrumentals in November, December 19. I flew over to LA for a few days. He's a Bristol producer. It's not like I went to work with an LA producer. He just lives there. And so
sounds
I went out.
Cool, though. It still sounds cool, man.
It does, but it's not like, I went out to LA to produce that album. No, he's from Bristol. So we went out to LA and mixed for 10 days, and then came back, and then kind of put the album to bed for Christmas. Came out here on holiday, did a few bits and bobs, and then we were gonna mix it, first quarter after I'd done all the vocals of 2020. And then that all just kind of got put on hold. So after a while, we kind of resumed mixing, for, I can't even remember when it was, probably like May or something. And then I recorded the strings in like August. And that was funny. We were supposed to get a guy called Miguel Atwood Ferguson.
Oh, wow.
He's a friend of John's, because just from, him being in LA, he's used him for a few other projects. So we were going to get him on, and then that couldn't happen. He got too busy, had a baby, and then lockdown. And so my friends from a band called More Like Trees, like they were London-based band. The double bass player from there has just moved back to New Zealand, and his wife is now for a job. His wife got a job at the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra, so he managed to get us the quartet. And then New Zealand went into lockdown, so so my brother-in-law out here is a film composer, and he as a birthday present, he said, do you want to borrow my 13-piece orchestra that I'm recording for a film? Do you want to borrow them for like an hour, and in the morning of a film session? And so so we did a 13-piece strings on like I think 2 or 3 of the album songs, and then New Zealand opened up, and we did the rest of it. Yeah, did the rest of it over in New Zealand. So this is kind of coming up to the tail end of 2020, and then we got it mixed, I think either end of 2020. I'm sorry, we got it mastered end of 2020, beginning of 21 by Prash, the engineers guys, who I know through Lyndon and Foreign Beggars and all those guys. And they're amazing. I wanted to work with them for ages. We used to play a few shows with them when they were a live act as well. And so we had this mastered album, and then it was a case of just waiting. We were adamant we didn't want to put the album out until we could tour it, because like we've been talking about, like touring is a massive thing to support a record. I mean, we're not talking massive numbers across the world, so every person that watches you live hopefully is someone who's gonna come and hopefully listen to a song or buy an album or something. So we didn't feel like the record would have legs if there wasn't a tour with it. And we'd seen a lot of our friends put music out over 2020. Only even bigger people. I mean, I think some people don't know Childish Gambino put an album out like last year, or like in 2020. People, stuff like that, and because people weren't touring, and people's focus was elsewhere, and so that we just felt that records were just disappearing off the face of the planet after a couple of weeks, and so we didn't want to do that. We thought we'd worked too hard and too long on this album to do that, so we just held on to it. And being out here and in Taiwan and looking at the rest of the world, it feels a little bit different. Like it feels like you can kind of see what's happening. And so, when I would talk to my agent in 2020, he'd be like, let's try and go August. And I'd be like, that's not happening, bro. It's not. And then, he's like, well, what about October? And I know that he ended up, rescheduling tours maybe 2, 3, 4 times in the last sort of 18 months. Same tours, same bands. And I just didn't want a bar of it. Like looking from out here when, the whole of Taiwan's 0 cases, in the community every day, and they're just my friends are coming up to me and going, what are you lot? What's your government doing? Like, and so we sat on it, and now it looks like, well, I mean, we didn't crack it, but we're over it, and it's time to we can tour it now. So I'm lucky I made a bunch of videos while I was out here because I could. So we just sat on the music and tried to create a plan or a strategy to try and go. So we stacked up a few videos in advance, just used that time wisely, and I've actually pretty much finished the next EP, I think.
Wow.
Just try to use the time wisely. So so just sitting on it basically is the short answer. Sorry.
Nah, man, it's good though. It's good that it's coming out now, man. You know what I mean? So you said you got a bunch of videos coming for it.
Yeah, we dropped one last Friday, and then that single comes out. For me, it's tomorrow because it's Thursday morning now. But yeah, it comes out Friday, and then another single probably March, and then another one in April with the album. Yeah.
Right, that's heavy, man. And the album is called Control. That's how I pronounce it, right?
That's the single. The album's called Vermilion Sands. This is Control's the single. Right. That's the one that comes out Friday.
Okay.
Right. That's the one that comes out Friday. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. No, you said that's the one. Yeah, for Friday. Okay. Play a little snippet.
And the album's called Vermilion Sands. Yeah.
Vermilion Sands.
Yeah.
Seen. Okay. What's the idea behind that name?
Well, I read a lot of a guy called J.G. Ballard. If you might know a film called Empire of the Sun.
J.G. Ballard's from this area where the studio is, yeah. So yeah.
Oh, amazing!
So we know him well, mate. You know
We know
what I mean?
him well.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm a big fan of his, and I just really like the way that, you know, this kind of dystopian future. It's not as, I mean, it can be, but it's not like kind of like fully 1984 depressing, but it's very much a possible future, very much about human conditions. I mean, he was he grew up a lot of in Shanghai and Hong Kong quite a lot as well. You know, during the 30s, so he saw a lot of crazy shit happen. Ended up in an internment camp in Shanghai under Japanese rule.
There's a film about that, isn't there, as well? Is it?
That's Empire of the Sun.
Empire of the
That's the
Sun,
one with a 12-year-old Christian Bale playing JT Ballard.
Wow,
Yeah.
12-year-old Christian Bale.
Yeah. So then
he's gonna make it from way back, man.
Let's carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, and I just feel I just feel like he just talks about life in a way I really like, and it's pretty dystopian, but it's kind of the vibe, right? That's the world we live in. And so, you know, the first album has a couple of song titles and references to short stories of his. Second album is named after a collection of short stories of his. It's like called the Atrocity Exhibition, which is just a bunch of short stories which are like about the human condition, you know, almost like the 7 Deadly Sins, not quite that, but like different kind of visuals of how the human psyche works and stuff. And the third one is that's the book, and so the album's kind of the same. All the songs are about different elements of the human condition, and then, I mean, loosely. And then the third album, Vermilion Sands, is another book of short stories by J.G. Ballard, and that's kind of about, they're all these short random stories, all just set in this kind of fictional resort of the future for the rich and famous, and it's kind of completely dilapidated. You know, it's just like an echo of what that used to be, and so it's kind of just people roam around it. It's kind of, yeah, like, and it's just the kind of about echoes of this kind of life of opulence and you know, everything you can have at the touch of a button, but how quickly that can change and how much that actually means. And so it's just a bunch of songs that kind of loosely are based around this kind of fictional resort.
Gee, it sounds like it's going to be a journey, boy.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, that's kind of the intention. But yeah.
Oh, definitely, man. People look out for that, please.
We'll play a bit of the track now.
Yeah. Should we play a little bit? You know what I mean? Give people a little bit, a snippet or two.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They just line
this
it up.
Some exclusivity for you mother lovers, man. Yes, we're speaking with James from Lazy Habits. Crazy ass band, man. I've seen you lot smash a few different jams as well. Not only that Most Def concert, but also at Glastonbury. I remember there was one time we was just all, it was like, yo, it was perfect timing as well. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to see, man.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Good to see,
Such
bro.
a pleasure to be on, man. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure's
man.
ours.
So let's get into this. Control, right?
Yeah.
Let us know what this is about and what they should expect. That's fire, man. Jeez, that's fire, bruv. And I can hear as well, you're talking about what's going on. Saying about getting back. Wow, yeah!
Like I'm standing in control of a loaded gun. And I hope we get to see this paradise. See the life that I was sold wasn't advertised. And once you see the flaws, they're hard to hide. An illusion of control we try to buy. See the life that I was sold. You see this TV's telling me that I need pedigree. Purchase it for discount, this screen prescribes a remedy. Input from memory, numbers are engraved on me. Digits to distinguish and divide us split. We sit cracked and broke, we quit. We paid for life decisions, but that pay don't fit. But wait, there's a hope, so relax, let's pray. I've heard there's a place, let's go, be brave. I play for the distance, sink with that conscious weaves, and I'm back in a flat, stirred from a scene with a rat tat tats. Have a claw to return, but I can't get back. Well, they say in to win, when they saw they fly wing to wing. Nobody wanted me falling, so they swim. That's why I know when I smoke, the air's thin. And that chronic, like a tonic, what I feel. And darling, what I feel has such mass appeal. So alive in these fields, come alive in these fields. I might die in these fields. Signal dropped out for a while. When it came back, no smile. Turned upside down by the way that I know that I am no child. Grown up so long now that I wonder how and I wonder why that I didn't give up, didn't even try. Cause I took real life like a set design and I hear them thunderclaps at the end of a baseball bat. And I tried to deflect or react, but when those debt collectors collect, they come for your soul. So listen, cause you bought into the system. No cash out, no resistance, cause it magnifies off the prism. And I know when it feels like tax, cause I know how it feels to be trapped when you feel like you're lost and you can't get back. Cause I've been way down, so low, so long. Doesn't really matter if you go no. That's why I feel cold shouldered. So we aim to breathe out by the sea, but ensured we need smoke to breathe. Never wanna be the devil, levels are never betting off the table. Just shouldn't have ever bigger baddies can be bodied at the levels. All we really need to do is let it go. Touch the holes, but never try to show. Now I chose, now I'm old. Down the river, down the road, with no road under control. See the life that I was sold wasn't advertised. Deep within our souls, we're drawn tight, like I'm standing in control of a loaded gun. And I hope we get to see this paradise. See the life that I was sold, it wasn't advertised. And once you see the flaws, they're hard to hide. An illusion of control we try to buy. You see the life that I was and so we just ended up copying one in.
Nah, he smacked it, man. That was fuego, bruv. That was, levels. That's levels right there, innit?
Yes.
You can see a lot of thought was put behind it, and beautiful shots as well. You were saying about that area that you shot it at. You picked it from quite some time, and so you'd always wanted to use it.
Yeah, there was actually if you kind of Google these crazy like these houses of the future or the best derelict areas in the world, this one of these in Taiwan pops up and it looks incredible. There's those UFO type buildings they call Futura houses, but they're stacked on top of each other, and there's this empty swimming pool and stuff. And I was like, that's where we're filming. And I went to my mate who makes music videos out here, and he was just like, oh, that got demolished 4 years ago. And I was like, oh shit. And he was like, but there is this other little, it's like slightly smaller, but it's this place up in North Taiwan in Wanli. And so he took me up there, and I was just like, yeah, we'll just do it here. We'll do it here. So yeah, it was actually like another similar thing that looked grander version of the same thing that I'd originally seen. But once we saw this, we were like, yeah, this is it. This is the one.
Bruv, yeah, it took it to another level, mate. That was cinematic, very cinematic, epic as well, and the music definitely runs with it. Yo,
thank you.
So that's Control. That's out right about now, and the LP's on its way. Vermilion Sands is on its way.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, April. Yeah.
April, man. So people, look out for that. Go to lazyhabits.com. They got a bunch of shows coming up as well. I see you're playing in Taiwan on a couple dates there. And then
this Saturday, next Saturday. Yeah.
You're gonna come back and enjoy sunny April with us.
Yay. I think we start on the 9th and we go through until about the 6th or 7th of May. Yeah. 9th of April to the 6th of May. Yeah.
Whole bunch of dates. You've got Stowmarket, Manchester, Liverpool, Newcastle, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Cardiff, Falmouth, Barnstaple, Birmingham, Milton Keynes, London. London is going to be April the 29th. That was a bit biased of me there, innit, to read out only that date. But you've got to be Bristol, Brighton, and Margate as well. So please check them out, lazyhabits.com. So, James, man, we got to leave some gems for some of our compatriots. What the hell? Jesus Christ. You don't really. What kind of man? You know what? When D was with the mic thing, I was like, what's he doing?
We've got a special guest for the.
What's going on?
James, it's Colin Emmanuel, James.
Oh, no way.
It's someone's. It's
cupcakes, cake. Oh.
We're just having a while you're here.
Cheeky, man. That was cheeky, man.
Einstein in the building.
Shout out to Black Einstein in the building.
Let me just get Colin some headphones. Hold on.
Yeah, let's get Colin. Oh, he's got some there, innit? Wow, look at this, man. Got me some. Is it? Because you were chatting about chocolate looking like poo-poo. Is it chocolate velvet cake?
It's long enough. It's been long enough.
I got some cupcakes and cake. You know what I mean?
Is it your birthday?
Yeah, well, it's coming up. Yeah, coming up Friday.
Happy birthday, Mice.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Pull that
Thank you, James, man.
A bit closer to you.
I was thinking, what is D doing? Like he was like, yeah, kind of sneakily doing. Earlier, he was doing some
moving
shit.
Stuff around.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I couldn't like figure it out, but now it all makes sense.
You know.
Okay, do I make a wish? Yeah.
Can you just give us a quick check on that?
Good evening. Good evening.
Hey, Colin, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Jay. How are you, sir?
Yeah, good, man. Long time no see.
Yeah. Been listening next door. Been saying some good stuff, man. Bring back some good memories.
Yeah,
hey,
boy.
I've been watching you for the basketball brother as well, man. That looks sick.
Thank you.
Yeah, boy. Cheeky mother lovers. But saying, yeah. All right, make a wish, yeah.
Yay!
There you go.
Let's have some candles
I'm gonna
and
tweet my wish
stuff in the chat for Mike's birthday.
Candles.
Candles up.
Candles up. Come on with it. Put some wax on there. Beeswax. Right. So yeah, after that not so rude interruption. I'm joking. It wasn't rude. That was nice, man. I appreciate you mother lovers for doing that. You know what I mean? You can't see me blushing because the lighting ain't gonna allow that. It's the lighting. I go burgundy when I blush. But James, man, I wanted to hit people off with some knowledge because, like you said, you do a lot of work helping people with sort of, you know, working within the industry as an independent artist. I need you to break down something because all these years, I've been with them, but I still don't really understand, you know, the potential I could take it to when it comes to the PRS, PPL. Can you if you can give a quick summary for people on what PRS first of all is and MCPS and whatnot, and then how they can benefit from it shit that we might
don't
not
ask
never
me
know
about
nothing about.
PPL. Please don't ask me
Nah,
about
I'll try to
that's
sneak the
PPL is what I'm
PPL in
learning
there.
about now, a little bit more, because when I was so involved with PRS, and you know someone at PPL because they're quite closely linked, you kind of decide that you'll let them be your brain for PPL, and you'll help them out with the PRS side. So I'm good with PRS, but yeah. Well, PRS basically, I mean, what I find out is people know a lot more about it these days than they used to. But you know, the Performing Rights Society, as it used to be called, and they're a non-profit making society. And basically, as soon as you're putting out music, as soon as you're doing shows with your own material, you become a member. And basically, you need to feed your information into them all the time. So yeah, understand, of course, that with digital radio, any radio play should get reported to them. But if you really want to maximize actually making sure that you are getting paid for everything, you need to stay on top of that. Don't expect your manager to do that, because for example, if you've got a band manager, why would they care about your individual PRS? Because that's for every single individual person. It's not just about what project you're working on, it's everything that you do. So every piece of music you've ever been involved with, or had some sort of writing element in, you should be making sure that's on PRS. Don't let the artist you're featuring with do it for you. I mean, they might do it for you, but it's worth checking to make sure it's on. Agreeing the splits for stuff is super important, and just staying on top of it all, as opposed to assuming that other people might do that for you. Because as a non-profit making society, they're a great place, but they do have limitations in terms of how much they can do at any one time, because of the nature of the money and percentage of the turnaround they have to actually run on.
And at what point do you decide that you register the track with PRS?
As soon as you're playing it out live, as soon as you're getting any form of radio play, once you're on there and you have had that and you have done that, I would start putting songs on as soon as they're finished. If you've had that already. But in terms of joining, as soon as you start getting gigs and you're playing your own music, as soon as you start getting any form of radio play. Yeah.
And so it means, like, once you sign up, basically, what you're saying is if you get radio play or you end up playing at gigs at certain venues and festivals and whatnot, you can then earn royalties off of the performance of the track, correct?
Yeah, if it gets synced to a TV slot or to a film or a TV series, if it gets played by other people as a cover or on YouTube, if it gets put to videos on YouTube, it's like, if it's used digitally in any way, on TikTok or anything like that, that's where PRS come in, and it's up to them to try and get money per stream or per usage of your music and give that back to you, whilst only taking I don't know, 8% or 10% in terms of just running costs. So they're a great company.
And is it the same in terms of registering? Because obviously you got like releases, but then you're saying stuff like TikTok and YouTube and whatnot. Do you put that information up in a different sort of way, or is it it's just like
in a digital age that should be being recorded and sent automatically to something, to PRS. I mean, I guess with regards to something like TikTok, it's quite hard to find how many people are doing it and stuff. But all that, you can find out the numbers that it's doing if you really need to, and all your streaming numbers and all that sort of stuff. It all gets reported directly to PRS. It's more, I would say, like commercials, international usage and stuff like that you want to make sure that you're sending in yourself, any live shows and stuff.
Hear that, kids? Hear that, kids? Mm-hmm. Very important, man. And that's also for musicians as well, right? Like
musicians who don't have writing credits, that's more like PPL. So that's like phonographic recording stuff. So that's basically, you can have two types of accounts on there. You can be, someone who owns music and plays on it. So you're the one who registers tracks. And then the other one is just like performance sort of side of things, which just will show you the tracks that you have that you played on or that you performed on or something like that. So so I'm just in the process of switching from one to the other because I haven't sorted that out very well. But the recording element of things, all the people who appear on the recordings, that's PPL.
Yeah. All right. Any other gems you want to drop for people before we go?
I think really just I mean, we're in the process of putting a new record out, and because of COVID and all of that nonsense, you know, we don't have the upfront budget to do marketing, because we've done our spend on the album because we had a bunch of shows coming up, and that was going to be something we were going to invest in the marketing spend, because we don't put our own money into this band. It's always, you know, we've always operated within the cost that we could manage rather than trying to outstretch too far in any way. So, you know, I would just say that what we're doing now is we're contacting everybody we've ever contacted before. We're going through, you know, massive email lists, and I just do think that putting that effort in, like, every single time one of my mates or someone I follow or whatever puts up a review or something, I'm taking a, you know, okay, that's a magazine, or that's a blog I haven't heard of, or that's a festival I haven't heard of, or something, and I'm making a database. And I'm not just doing this when I need it. I've been doing this since we finished the record, and that's now 2 years. So we have approximately, I don't know, like a 2,000 plus list of contacts, festivals, promoters, blogs, radios, all of these sorts of things. And then we systematically go through every single one of them and email them out something. And if something else happens that's nice, we email them out something. And we record or reply that we get. If it's a negative, but we'll go back to them. If it's a positive, we'll make sure we contact them more often and try and keep them, you know, up to date with what we're doing. So I think it is that legwork. And that legwork can do everything for you. And rather than trying to find an agent, rather than trying to find a publisher or a PR agent or any of these things, if you put the legwork in yourself and you get results, then people might come to you. You know, we've run the PR campaign for the first single ourselves. You know, we haven't got anyone in it. We haven't spent a penny on it, you know. But off the back of that, I've got this guy, for example, called Eric Alper, who's a PR marketing guy, whose client list includes, like, you know, Bob Dylan and Ringo Starr and all these people. And he's just looked at us from afar from a song that I sent him, and he said, all right, I want to work with you guys.
Wow.
So I had a meeting with him yesterday, and, you know, we're this tiny band on his roster, and the first thing he said when I was in a meeting with him was like, why is a song of yours that's 10 years old getting 30,000 streams a month on Spotify? And I was like, I don't know. And you know, I could see that just from sending this one person who I don't know one song out of
That's crazy.
1,000 people, this one thing that might come that might lead on to something. And I just think that, don't get disheartened. You need to put the work in, and don't get disheartened if you send out 1,000 emails and only one person replies to you, because if you get one reply, then that's great. It could lead to something else, and you just need to follow it up and always work on it. Another thing I just quickly is, like, when you put on a show, I always find, you know, like, for example, when we tour, when we're getting closer to the tour, we'll start a regional list, and that will mean that every single person in my band will pick a city, and we'll Google that city, and we'll find out the record stores, the local promoters, local festivals, local bands that we might like, and we'll invite them all to the show. Everybody gets invited, and then they get a follow-up. And the amount of shows and festivals we've got off of inviting people to a show a couple of weeks before the show, just because we're there and it's local, it's outside of London, so perhaps there's not, like, you know, Flying Lotus on a Tuesday in a 50 capacity bar, and, you know, Method Man playing in front of 4 people here, and, you know, you get that choice of going to see your favorite artist in this tiny venue like you do in London. So if if there are events in other cities that don't have that many venues and shows on, then contacting all those people, you're more likely to get them to come, and everything leads to something else. So you just need to act like everything you do is going to lead to something else, and there needs to be a reason why you're doing it. That's not the end product. The show isn't the end product. The show is, you know, the one stepping stone of hopefully many more. Like, so it's always just about making every situation that you're in count for something.
Yo, that's some legendary shit you said right there, bruv. For real, man. Nah, for real. That's exactly what I was saying. If there's any gems to drop, man, people, one thing you can take away from that is you keep knocking. Exactly what he said. Even if you send out 1,000 emails and only one reply is positive, that's one reply you didn't have before, man. So it says something, you know what I mean? James, man, appreciate, you know what? And what people might not know is that, what time is it now? It's about 7 in the morning now, isn't it?
It's 7:30, yeah. 7:30.
Half 7, man. Jeez. Appreciate you staying up this late or waking up this early, whatever you did to join us.
Fine.
You know what I mean?
I slept
it means
a bit.
a lot.
I slept a bit.
You did. Nah, man, that was wicked, brother, man. Really appreciate you coming on.
No,
and
thank you,
sharing that
Dan.
with
Thank
us.
you, Mice.
Thank
And nice
you.
to speak to you, Colin, as
Nice-
well, man.
nice to see you,
It's been
James.
amazing. Thank you.
The new
Just-
music is sounding crazy,
Yeah.
bruv.
New track's amazing.
Yeah, man. I think it sounds like it's got like Hobbit's already saying as well that the album sounds bananas. So looking forward
Yeah, I'll
to
send
hear
it
bruv.
to you guys. I'll send it to you
Oh
guys.
yeah, man.
Sweet. Just
Sweet,
give us
brother.
one last plug of where people can get hold of you and all the rest of it.
Lazyhabits.com, or just, search engine the hell out of us and everything will come up. The usual Instagram, Twitter. I'm too old for TikTok, so Facebook. All the normal places that someone over the age of, I don't know, whatever I am, 40 or whatever. Anyone where you'd find that.
The grandfather clock goes
Sweet.
TikTok, right?
Yeah, grandfather socials. Yeah, there. That's the one.
Yeah, man.
And then thanks for coming on. It's been like really good chat and
Insightful, man.
insightful information as
I'm gonna
well.
sort my PRS out properly, boy.
Yeah, it's got to be done.
Bro, I'm gonna have to holler you about the PRS shit. Goodbye. Yeah, man. I'm
He's been
getting
going on
you.
about this PRS for ages, and he said, "I've got someone coming on who can tell me
PRS.
about it anyway." So.
Yeah,
Shout me
man.
whenever, man. I'm happy to talk about it. It's fine.
Ah, bless, brother, man. Yes, man. Let's link when you get back over as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That'd be great. Come to the London show. We'll do something beforehand.
Yeah,
And,
for sure, man.
yeah, that'd be great.
Yes, man.
Cool.
Bless up, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. I'll speak to you guys soon.
Definitely.
Love,
Fire in the
brother.
chat.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, man.
Alright.
Chat's
Nice
loving it, man. That's James from. Oh, he's cutting out. Cutting out there. That's James from Lazy Habits, Mother Lovers. Yo, thank you to everyone locked in right about now, man. All the chat room, we appreciate you. Beatbox Hobbit. Nice one, JM. You're more. Bigger, man. Gleam. Yes, man. We appreciate all you bitches and bitchettes. See, we don't discriminate when we hail out people, you know what I mean? Shout to Kenny Rebel. Shout to Ken F. See Through the Script. IBMCs, of course. Have I missed anyone out? Turbo Tubalicious, man. Big up to the crew, man. Everyone locked in. Yeah. About to tuck into this. What type of cake is it?
Poo-poo cake.
Mud cake. It's mud butt cake. You know what I'm saying? I brought you some mud butt cake, man.
Chocolate on chocolate on chocolate.
Yeah, man. We're about to get tucked into this and the cupcakes as well, man. Appreciate you, mother lovers, locking in, man. Always. My name is MysDiggi. That's Black Einstein. That's Dan DNA. And you know what we're about. Some shit you might not never know nothing about. Peace, bitches and bitchettes. We're out.
Sound